Blazing Beaks is very unassuming at first glance. This top-down roguelike, in very similar vein to Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac, and so on, tries to emulate what those games did successful. And while it doesn't get to that height, what the game does that does stand out definitely deserves to be mentioned and discussed. So the story is that we are exploring procedurally generated areas with a combination of, bird characters here. Each character has different starting abilities, a weapon, health, and stuff that we've seen before. The levels themselves are procedurally generated, and you don't know what you're going to find in them. Now, you'll get gold and keys, which are used at the shops to buy new items or to unlock new things respectively. But the twist of Blazing Beaks, or one of them, has to do with the artifact system. How it works is, as you're exploring the areas, you're going to run, or enemies will drop artifacts. These are always cursed items that will do something bad. The bad thing that they'll do is entirely up to the artifact. Some may penalize you for picking up coins. Others may reduce your max health. Some may even affect how your weapon works. Now, the reason why you are limiting yourself like this is that for every artifact you pick up, you're going to build up a value at the top of the screen above the coin. The higher that value is, when you can reach the shop, you'll trade in your artifacts for positive artifacts that will always give you something good. And those artifacts remain permanent for the remainder of your run. And it's a very clever idea on the whole aspect of roguelike design, which is, of course, risk versus reward. I can make the game very hard for myself, and in turn, I could get enough passive items that can make this run easy. But the problem is, can I make do with those negatives, and can I survive long enough to get rid of them? And that is a very interesting system. The game also features set boss battles with a difficulty modifier that I believe is random each time you play. But other than that, the general gameplay remains the same. You're going to be moving and shooting these enemies. You can buy or find new weapons, and each area has a fixed type of enemies, environmental hazards, and you get the picture. And like I said, that is where Blazing Beaks is at its weakest, and we'll talk more about that one in a second. But before we do, another mode of the game that I don't have any footage of that I want to bring up is that the game does feature up to 4-player local co-op, as well as competitive PvP modes as well. But unfortunately, I didn't have the ability to test that here. But after this quick word to our Patreon supporters and sponsors, we're going to talk about why the game doesn't quite hit the heights of the other examples of the genre. And now for a quick thank you to our Patreon supporters and current Game Wisdom sponsors. If you would like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. Blazing Beaks has some really great ideas to it, but it doesn't quite go far enough in terms of variance between the runs. Because your main factor are the artifacts themselves and they are random, similar to the Binding of Isaac, it definitely leads to the game feeling a bit repetitive. The level design is of the very basic variety. Each level is only one screen long, and you don't run into, at least at this moment in time, crazy variants, such as unique versions of a biome, different bosses, elite enemies, things along those lines. Anything that keeps the run from becoming stale. While I did like the use of the artifacts, it does get to that point where you're either going to win or lose based on the luck of the draw of just pure power. One of the big things I found that makes the game a lot easier is finding a long or at least medium range weapon that allows you to deal with these enemies without having to get close to them, because you do not get a lot of iframes upon damage, and your health can go down very fast. Now, with the general gameplay, From what I've seen, there is the idea of having like a New Game Plus or a looping system similar to Nuclear Throne. I don't have any footage of that to show right now, but I'm sure that does add a little bit more replay value. However, without having new elements that can appear or that greater sense of persistence, I just found myself getting a little bit bored of Blazing Beasts after I saw the game all the way through to the end at least one time. Now, if you do have friends to play this game with locally, the multiplayer should be a lot of fun, and probably the best part of this game. But single player wise, I don't think the content is enough to justify multiple playthroughs, at least not at this time. But with that said, we're going to wrap things up for this first look. I enjoy the game, and like I said, if you have friends to play with, it should be a lot of fun. And I hope that developers do take inspirations from the artifact system in that kind of, again, pushing your luck kind of design. But thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new, be sure to check out the Discord and Patreon link down below. And if you'd like me to go to your game in the future, don't hesitate to get in touch. But check back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Once again, this has been Blazing Beaks, and I will see you all next time. If you're looking for a book on design, my first title, 20 Essential Games to Study, is out now. It is available where most books are sold, and it comes in paper, hardcover, or digital copies. This is the perfect book for anyone interested in learning about game design, whether you are a student, enthusiast, or just a fan. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoy things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.